Hello students, myself Dr.Tandra Sharma, Professor, Jagannath Institute of Education, will be taking School Organization and Management. My today's topic is Principles of Educational Administration and Advantages and Disadvantages of Educational Administration. Principles of Educational Administration. Administration is nothing but the management of the affairs of an organization. This principle of management is dominated by the prevailing philosophy of the people. The philosophy of the people in respect of management may be of two types, that is, democratic and autocratic. Democratic management emphasizes on cooperation, coordination, mutual goodwill among the personnel involved in the process of management, and integration of the efforts. Authoritarian administration emphasizes on force of authority, fear of punishment, and direction. The system of administration, which is appreciated by most of the people of the world, is not authoritarian administration, but administration which emphasizes on democratic principles. Let us now discuss some of the important principles of administration under the following heads. The first principle is the principle of sharing responsibility. John Dewey, the famous American philosopher, has defined democracy as sharing of experiences. The advocates of this principle of administration claim that school administration should be based on mutually shared purposes. If sharing becomes the principle of administration, all administrative problems become a problem for all. The teachers, the students, the administrators, and the public share responsibility to achieve success in the field of education. Development of policies and the planning of educational programs become a joint responsibility of all those who participate in the process. The principles of sharing puts more brains together for a better work. The second principle is the principle of freedom. This is one of the unique principles of democracy. Democratic administration allows freedom to ensure all persons an opportunity to express their unique personality. A teacher in the classroom should be allowed freedom to follow any method which he feels suitable. He should also be free to criticize, to reason out anything, to present different viewpoints, and to ask questions. The students should be allowed academic freedom. There should not be any imposition on the students from the authorities concerned. The third principle is the principle of equality. Democratic administration should provide equality of opportunity in the field of education. A head of the institution should not consider himself aloof from others. He is the first among equals, so he should look upon his colleagues as equal to him. They are his co-workers, not his subordinates. He should take his colleagues into confidence in running the school, in decision making, and in other important matters. In the words of R.R. Kumaria, a democratic administrator should look upon the personnel as socially equal to himself. He should not take decisions by himself, but with his colleagues. He should make them feel responsible and share administration. He should have a code of set rules of administration which he and his colleagues should follow rigidly, making no discrimination in their application. And lastly, he should want no special privileges. The next principle is the principle of cooperation. The school is considered as a cooperative society in which every member should work for all and all for each. Full understanding and goodwill should prevail between the headmaster and the teachers, between the staff and the students, between the parents and the school, and between the school and the controlling authorities. A cooperative spirit must be reflected in every activity of the school. The running of the school is not a one man's job. It needs the working of many hands and heads. Therefore, persons concerned with the process of school administration must follow the principle of cooperation. The next principle is the principle of justice. The head of the institution who believes in democracy should not show undue favor. He should show full justice to all. Respect for justice quickens the solution of problems and disputes. Lack of justice leads to non-cooperation among the persons involved in the process of learning. For want of justice, many employees become frustrated. In the centers of learning, due respect must be paid to the rules and regulations. The moment the head of the institution pays respect to justice, most of his troubles are over. The sixth principle is the principle of flexibility. Democratic administration does not allow any stereotyped ideas to bring about better results in policy and approaches. A democratic administrator believes in changes and not in rigidity. He modifies his plan of action in the light of his experiences and also on the constructive advice of his colleagues. The seventh principle is the principle of leadership. Democratic administration needs leadership at different levels. The school administration must possess the qualities of leadership so that others may also follow him. He should inspire, direct, guide, and lead the staff and the students, the parents, and the community as well. The eighth principle is the principle of individual worth. Every individual has an essential worth in him. An administrator who recognizes the dignity and worth of every individual is really a democratic leader. It is the duty of the headmaster to know each member of his staff thoroughly. He should be judicious in assigning duties and should see that a square peg is put in a square hole. He should recognize that certain teachers are very well in classrooms, but there are some who achieve outstanding success in co-curricular activities. Such merit should also be recognized. Next is the principle of efficiency. Democratic administration presupposes that efficient and competent personnel are entrusted with the task of administration. Everyone cannot be efficient administrator. Hence, for good administration, competent persons should be identified and should be chosen on the basis of identified competence. The 10th principle is the principle of optimism. School administrator should be fundamentally optimistic in his outlook and constructive in his policies and procedures. He should have full faith in the efficiency of his programs. The next principle is the principle of professional growth. The success of the administrator depends to a large extent on the efficiency of his colleagues and subordinates. Therefore, he should be sincerely interested in the professional growth of his staff in order that they may be able to discharge their duties successfully. And the last principle is the principle of relative value. All decisions should be made on the basis of relative values. The betterment of the school or the student should be the most important determining factors. So these are the principles of educational administration. Now let us come to the advantages and disadvantages of educational administration. So far, we had discussed about the meaning, the concept of educational administration, the scope and its functions, as well as the principles. So based on the principles, we can discuss the advantages and disadvantages of the educational administration. Educational administration, as we know, is one of the largest enterprises and one of the biggest social services undertaken by the government at various levels. It is characterized by the nature of government, social ethos, and national culture. There are mainly three types of educational administration: autocratic administration, democratic administration, and the laissez-faire style of administration. But in a democracy, education has to be democratized in all its aspects and dimensions. It prepares students for citizenship, for accepting challenges, and gives them equality of opportunity to grow and to develop to the optimum. Democracy has to be practiced through education, its learning materials, school organization, evaluation, methods of teaching, and so on. Therefore, educational administration, to be democratic, has to be free, open, flexible, creative, productive, scientific, and humanitarian. So, let us discuss some of the advantages of educational administration. A democratic education administration has the following advantages. It creates a cordial atmosphere and work culture in an institution or an organization. It provides optimization of performance through unfoldment of inherent potentialities. In a democratic administration, everybody feels committed and involved in all the programs of the institution. Everybody participates in them spontaneously and joyfully. People outside the organization or institution feel committed. They are involved in all the programs, take interest, and extend cooperation. Sixthly, in a democratic educational administration, individuality is respected and individual differences are recognized for their fullest development. Seventhly, pace of progress of an institution is accelerated due to the cooperative participation of all concerned. In a democratic educational administration and in the absence of uniformity and standardization, the development and the programs become colorful and full of variety. Proper motivation are created among the personnel for working in the institution and for themselves. There is local participation, initiative, and support for the institutional programs made available. Now, let us come to the disadvantages of educational administration. Although in a democratic administration, many undesirable features are eliminated and a good number of advantages are gained, there are certain limitations too. For example, number one, in a democratic process is time-taking, since everything is done through persuasion and motivation. We need to motivate, persuade everybody for the smooth functioning of the organization. Secondly, productivity may not be maximized in a democracy due to the lack of threat or rigid norms. People usually do not have that fear in them in the democratic administration. And thirdly, it is contended that due to too much importance given to the number or quantity, the quality may be sacrificed to some extent. But all these disadvantages can be removed through improving their interhuman relationship, making informal contacts, and creating an atmosphere of enjoyment, motivation, pride, and participation in the institution. In short, democratic educational administration must be greatly dynamic and intensely humanitarian to realize the objectives to the maximum. Thank you.